What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where things are about to get crazy with a PTS starting tomorrow out of nowhere, and they've released the patch notes. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. These patch notes, I've only flicked through them, are wild. The nostalgia for Division 1 is high. So as you can see here, the patch size straight away is 100 gig. If you've already got a PTS build on, it's going to be a 17 gig update, which is huge. The PTS starts tomorrow on the 25th of April at 1 PM CEST. So that's midday, I think, UK time. And then it ends on Monday at the same time. They talked about the modifiers, there's gear. The patch notes are insane. So let's go over the new global modifiers. And you thought we were powerful this season. This is pretty crazy. So this season's global modifier is hardcore. Bringing new build focus bonuses for yourself and your allies that grow based on your gear cores and increase even further upon defeating enemies marked with hostile countermeasures. Players gain 3 attribute scores. Remember attribute scores from Division 1? The nostalgia's already kicking in. Firearms, stamina, and electronics. Each bonus scaling with the current attribute tier. They've literally brought the global modifiers in the form of the Division 2's entire gear score system in for this season, which is incredibly special. So firearms, it grants X amount or X% of critical hit chance that bypasses the critical hit chance cap. That's insane. Tier 5 effect instantly refills ammo, and that includes signature weapon ammo as well. Then for stamina, it applies a percentage of bonus armor every 300k damage you take. Tier 5 instantly refills all of your armor kits. And then for electronics, every time a skill is used, the cooldown of your other skill is reduced by a certain percent of its current value. Shields are excluded. Already the skill builds, and they're all red builds, it just seems like this is going to be absolutely insane. And then it gives a list of the tier progression and effects based on the score. So for instance, the critical hit chance percentage you can see at the top there. So for tier 1, you're going to get 2% critical hit chance. But then you go all the way down to tier 5, it's a further 10% critical hit chance. So meaning we can get up to 70% critical hit chance rather than 60. And then at the bottom there, you can see it gives us 22.5% for electronics, which again, that's pretty high. And then 7.5% bonus armor for every 300k we take. So yeah, pretty crazy. The attribute scores are influenced by your gear and combat actions. Each gear core adds to your baseline score. So that is pretty crazy as well. So if I've got 6 reds, it's going to add to my score. Is that going to mean that I'm just going to be straight at tier 5? Potentially, I guess so. And then killing enemies grants us bonus points as well. Meaning, I guess we can take it even further. That's insane. Or, in fact, we're going to be able to have a combination. The system's going to mean we can have a combination of all of them, right? So it's going to mean we're going to be able to have firearms, stamina, and electronics, because killing the marked enemies will grant us bonus points. That is insane. So this season includes 5 active modifiers designed to consume your current score in bonus in exchange for powerful temporary boost. There we go. Now it makes sense. I was right. While they work best when coordinated with a team, solo players will also benefit significantly from their effects. So there's a few things here: assault link, security link, tech link, all, you know, Division 1-esque names. But the first one is broken link. On activation, it freezes all attributes at their current score and double the value of each current bonus offered by the attributes respective tiers for a limited duration. Already sounds crazy. Then we've got target rich environment. On activation, 3 unmarked targets within 35 meters will each be marked with a different mark. For the next 15 seconds, your kills and assists will yield ×2 attribute score multiplier. After the 15 seconds are up, freeze the attributes at their current score, and each value of each current bonus offered by the attributes respective tiers is multiplied by 4 for 25 seconds. That's even crazier than Broken Link. There is some insane damage being put on the table here with this. And then we've got Assault Link. On activation, the player's firearm score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. Allies within 10 meters are granted the firearm score bonus when cast. The players gain 5% weapon damage for every non-red core equipped. Attributes are frozen and bonuses are multiplied by 4 for the duration of the modifier. Holy moly. Team buffs. They're bringing back team buffs. Then we've got Security Link, which I'm guessing is going to be like the blue one in Division 1. On activation, the player's stamina score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. Allies within 10 meters are granted a stamina score bonus when cast. Players gain 60k extra max armor for every non-blue attribute equipped. Attributes are frozen and bonuses are multiplied by 4 for the duration of the modifier. Duration is increased for 3 seconds. Holy moly, that sounds real. These sound really, really powerful. And then we've got Tech Link, and it's pretty crazy. Like 1, 2, 3, 5 different active modifiers to choose from. I would have thought it would have been Assault Link, Security Link, and Tech Link, and not the top 2. But then we've got Tech Link. On activation, the player's electronic score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. Allies within 10 meters are granted an electronic score bonus when cast. The players gain 10% skill efficiency for every non-yellow core equipped. Attributes are frozen and bonuses are multiplied by 4 for the duration of the modifier. Duration increased by 3 seconds for each ally nearby at the time of activation. So they're definitely doubling down on team play for this season. Absolutely. And then we've got passive modifiers. This season's passive modifiers are directly tied to your current attribute tiers. As long as you meet the requirement for the tier for a specific attribute, the corresponding bonus is active. If you drop below that tier, the bonus becomes inactive. Holy moly, so your build is going to be dependent on the passive modifiers. So loaded up, 25% of critical hit chance is added to critical hit damage while max tiering firearms. Specialized, then we've got Specialized. Specialized signature weapon damage is boosted by 10% for each firearms tier. Hang on, is tip of the spear going to be a thing? Then we've got extra padding. Gain 5% protection from elites per blue core while at max tier in stamina. Safety first. Hasbro is increased by 7.5% for each stamina tier. Hands on. While at max electronics tier, 50% of the current skill haste bonus is added as skill damage. Oh man, that was like what, 25% extra? And then we've got interface blocker. Disrupt resistance is increased by 10%. I mean, I'm not sure why anyone would use that. The best kind of defense. While at tier 3 in both firearms and stamina, here we go. Gain 5% headshot damage for every 200k armor you have. I mean, this is actually going to be a little bit beneficial to have expertise in armor pieces with this. Supportive. While at tier 3 in stamina and electronics, increase outgoing and incoming repairs by 50%. Not as good. Then we've got tech upgrades. While at tier 3 in both firearms and electronics, increase skill duration by 25% of the current critical hit damage value. Yeah, that's not as good either. I was kind of hoping that we'd have a firearms and electronics one that would be very similar to like an M1A build that we ran back in Division 1. But I don't think we're going to be able to achieve that, unfortunately. Multitasker. While at tier 5 in all attributes, you receive 7.5% weapon damage, 85k armor, and an increase of 1 skill tier. Multitasker is very good Very, very good. And then a tier for the day. For each tier in any attribute, gain 5% max health. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Hostile ones. So the hostiles look like they've got 3 again. So this season introduces hostile countermeasures, special enemy buffs represented by marks. Enemies can spawn with 1, 2, or all 3 unique marks. Holy moly. Each providing different advantages. Marks are directly tied to the global modifier and the attribute score system. Okay. So enemy marks and effects. So the firearm mark. The marked enemy gains 10% damage and 20% movement speed. So similar to the ones we get this season. If they get a stamina mark, the marked enemy gains overheal. Critical hit damage is reduced by 50% on this enemy. Holy moly. Then we've got the electronics mark. The marked enemy takes 33% less damage from skills and 33% damage to weak points. So hang on, so the enemy takes 33% less damage from skills and less damage again to weak points. While the gadgets are deployed, they take again 33% less damage. That's pretty insane. Enemies cannot receive the same mark more than once, but they can carry multiple different marks at the same time. That's actually pretty insane. Rewards for engaging these enemies though. Killing an marked enemy grants score points in each attribute corresponding to the marks. Alright, okay, so that's okay. So that's essentially going to be building up our gear score again. Assisting or dealing any damage grants score points per relevant attribute when the enemy dies. So meaning we can finally play in a team, which is cool. And it all actually counts, because if you get an assist, it's still going to count. Skill kills count as assists, not kills. I guess that skill kills were too powerful. Skill-based assists do not grant any score points. Okay. Alright, so the modifiers sound absolutely crazy, and it feels like we're going to be even more powerful than we are this season. And it actually sounds like it might actually be fun to play around with. It's kind of bringing the Div 1 score system into Div 2. So I'm not against it. It feels like it could be a lot of fun. Then, talking about Div 1, a new exotic weapon. Guess what's returning? The Pecan is returning. The exotic RPK-74. Great weapon in Division 2, by the way. So each kill with this weapon grants a stack of 50% magazine size to the next magazine, and it can stack up to 4 times. Then it's got 5% weapon damage, an extra 20 rounds, 5% crit chance, and then 5% crit chance again. This is going to be a great weapon. I already know this is going to be a great weapon, especially with the 2 crit chance mods in there as well, and the 20 round mag. I think this will feel really, really good to use. Cannot wait. Then we've got a new exotic holster called the Nimble Holster with a talent Bob and Weave. Receive 5% repairs for every 1 meter run in cover to cover. Damage taken while doing cover to cover is healed over 10 seconds. So they're doubling down on the smart cover talent that's coming in, giving you gear that will kind of go hand in hand with that as well. But then this is potentially the most craziest thing that they have added. A new exotic mask called the Tinkerer, that is essentially bringing Alpha Bridge from Division 1 into Division 2. So the talent is called Abridged. Shock. If your primary and secondary weapon are not exotic or named and of the same type, the secondary weapon's talent will be applied to the primary weapon. Meaning we're going to be able to have 2 talents on our primary gun. It already screams determined flatline, determined ranger, like flatlined and strained on a Lexington. Like there is so many good combinations I can already think of at the top of my head. Like that is absolutely insane. Let's just make sure we read that right. If your primary and secondary weapon are not exotic or named and of the same type, so they have to be the same type. So you are limited by what talents. Obviously, they don't want to mix the talents between SMGs and sniper rifles, which is understandable. But yeah, it literally means that I hope that exotic mask is a red. I really hope it's a red core mask. But I guess we won't find out. I wonder which one of these is going to be the season reward and we're going to have to wait for. I hope it's not that. I really hope we get this straight away. That'd be wounding if that's the climax mission reward. But I guess we'll find out tomorrow because it won't be available in the PTS if it is. So then new gear. So we've got some new gear. So this is a brand set. So one piece gives us 5% weapon damage, so like Walker Harris. Two piece gives 100% increased threat. So a tank set. Bizarre. Then 3 piece gives us 60% pistol damage. Determined John Wick pistol. Then it's got perfect leadership. Performing cover to cover grants 20% of your armor as bonus armor to you and all your allies within 10 seconds. This is tripled if you end within 10 meters of an enemy. Cooldown 10 seconds. I mean, this is a pretty crazy set, but I don't really see its usability. But then I guess we'll see. We'll have to test it out. Then we've got some named knee pads called Cloak. 50% reduced threat. Oh my god. 50%? We're going into threat? Like actual tank stuff? That's actually pretty insane. Then we've got another set. Measured Assembly. It gives 15% skill haste. 60% repair skills for 3 piece. 4 piece gives us a new unique talent called Huddle. Receive 1 skill tier for each ally agent that is within range of your hive. While at skill tier 6, having at least 1 ally agent in range of your hive. Or smart cover, I guess that will say. For 4 seconds will grant overcharge. So we've got a set here that is leaning in to smart cover, which is interesting because there isn't a smart cover variant that is a healing one, but it kind of feels like that you could run this set, be a healer, and get a buff to smart cover as well. Mortars and enemy skills that enter the range of your hive or smart cover will be destroyed or diffused. What? Cooldown 30 seconds. The cooldown is 15% faster for each ally agent within the range of your hive. Holy moly. Chest bonus brings the overcharge cooldown down to 25 seconds. That's beautiful. That is a thing of beauty. And then the backpack bonus brings the cooldown from 30 to 15 seconds. That, again, is pretty wild. This is already, I've not even got to play it yet, but it seems like a crazy season. So we've got some new named weapons and talents here. I'm not sure I'm ready for this already. When I look at the bonus, this is pretty crazy. So, a SOCOM M16 with a perfect streamline. M16 is not good, but receive 87% weapon damage when no skills are on cooldown. But that has to be additive, right? Holy moly. 87% weapon damage. Then there's a converted SMG 9A2, which also has the perfect version. How is that going to stack up against the Dark Winter now? That is actually insane. And then we've got... Oh yeah, and then that's just the weapon talent. I don't know why they've repeated that. Quality of life changes. Seasonal journey objectives can now be progressed while playing in co-op. Hallelujah. That is a great change. Absolutely great change. Then we've got some known issues. The Capin named the backpack talent. Name and description have not been updated to the perfect version. The perfect version functionality does work. Hang on, what was the Capin? I feel like they didn't tell us what that was. These are named guns. This is a gear set. Named knee pads were called cloak. They didn't mention something called capping. Named knee pads. There was no named knee pads above us. There's something missing from the notes then. So new exotic gear, new gear. Oh, there it is. Named backpack. Oh, okay, so it's perfect leadership. Yep. All right, so it is there. It's the named backpack with perfect leadership. So okay, all right. So it does work though. The cloak named knee pads are missing their perfect attribute. And what's that meant to be? 50% reduced threat. All right, that's probably not something too fancy to test anyway. The secondary weapons talent AI UI overwrites the primary weapons AI UI when using the abridged talent. All right, so it's essentially it's meant to be a new UI where we can see both of the damage talents. So, but I assume it still works, right? It doesn't say that it doesn't work. It just that it overwrites the UI. The second, yes, okay, so that's fine. The streamline and perpetuation talents do not work with the abridged talent. So streamline was the new one. The 87% weapon damage. Is that, so that's a known issue. So that should work though. So that's actually pretty crazy. That's actually pretty crazy actually when you think about it, because you essentially means we're going to be able to get 87% weapon damage on another rifle. Can you imagine that on an M1A? You can essentially probably run Headhunter with an M1A. And Determined. Headhunter Determined M1A. With the alpha bridged. I mean, yeah, that seems crazy. But at the moment, we can't do that because it doesn't work. So hopefully that'll get fixed before it goes live. But we're certainly not going to be able to test that combination. Because Streamline doesn't work. Was this talent in here as well? No, okay, that's fine. So that's not any changes. So that's just something to say. So then modifiers, assault link, security link, and tech link active modifiers do not gain extra duration per nearby ally. Okay, so that's just something we can't really test. The hardcore global modifiers electronics cooldown reduction does not trigger. So that's again something that won't be too bad in testing. So we've got some placeholder icons in, which is not going to affect testing either. More placeholders. So that's all placeholders. Okay, that's fine. And then the Tinkerer exotic mask is using a placeholder model, which does mean that we're going to be able to test this out, which does make me feel like it is not the reward for the end of season next season. So it might mean we're actually get it before the master mission becomes a thing. Anyway, that's going to be it for the video. An absolute insane set of patch notes. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.